All right. Welcome back, everyone. It's episode 2 of 20 Years and Counting. Thank you, everyone, who listened to the first one. I thought it went pretty well. We got some good views on the YouTube. I don't know if I can check Spotify or I did check Spotify, but I think we did all right there. And I still got to work on getting it on Apple Podcasts. I think I was close. But anyway, Max, we got another week of Big Sky Conference basketball. How you feeling?
Feeling good. I know the bureaucrats at Apple don't make it very easy to get your podcast up. I've tried a couple times in the past and they are terrible. So
It's so much
Apple,
easier to get it on Spotify than it is app. I don't know why.
yeah, it makes no sense. But Big Sky basketball was good, so it makes up for the bureaucracy. So
Anyone can watch on YouTube, so that's the most important part. My mom also requested that you see both of us during the video and not just who's talking. So hopefully you guys will be able to see both of us this year. Thanks, Mom, for listening. So let's just jump right into a weekly recap. I'm gonna go through this one kind of fastest 5 minutes style, and then we're both gonna go through some takeaways we had. I'm not going to spoil too much, but our picks went pretty well on Thursday games. Starting on Thursday, though, Weber State on the road in the Skydome beats NAU. Vajami Vertianen, we might need to get that one pronunciation fixed, from Finland. Hooper for Weber State, 16 points. A road dub there. Northern Colorado over Idaho State by 13. Zach Bloch 26 for the Bears. Bounce back win for them. Grizz beat Idaho. They big lead. Got close to blowing it. Money Williams down the stretch nails 35 points. Kind of statement for him. And then the Cats beat Eastern Washington by 4. Close game. Close game in Cheney. Christian King 27 off the bench. Bucket right there. Saturday games. Portland State, they're back. They didn't play Thursday. They're back 27-point win over Sac State. I think everyone had their starters all maybe double figures, one of those games.
yeah.
Sac State starters, not so much. Jalen Henderson, 26 points. Idaho beats MSU, bounce back win for the Vandals, 92-89. Not a lot of defense in that game. Biko Johnson, 23 points. Eastern, big kind of head turner there. A big win for the Eags. They're down, but they're not out. They beat the Grizz by 1. Isaiah Moses, maybe the real Alaskan assassin. Pat McMahon, look out. 20 points. And finally, oh no, not finally, but Weber beat Northern Colorado. Uh-oh, Northern Colorado, 76-71. Edwin Suarez Jr. from Puerto Rico, 18 points. Hey, he went 4 for 10 from the line. They tried to hack shack him. Didn't work. They get the win. Idaho State on the road. The Bengals beat NIU by 2. Close game. Jameson Guerra, 22 points. So that leaves our conference standings. Portland State alone at the top, only 3-0 team, undefeated team. Montana, Weber, and MSU now all 3-1s. Obviously, one less game. Ken Palm fans out there. Portland State number one team in Ken Palm 149. MSU at 159 in Northern Colorado 162, and we have our first team in the 300s. Sac State. So yeah, and I think Idaho State has the highest offensive rating. This is from UMax with
Yeah,
111, and Portland
I
State
was
highest defense 105. That's pretty good for Portland State.
Yeah, I was checking. I didn't want to check all the stats because I feel like you can get really like you can get bogged down by all this stuff. But I uh I was like, oh, who's got the best and the worst? And best, I was honestly surprised about Idaho State being the top one. But
Sorry to interrupt here. There's a pit bull rolling around in the background here. Sorry.
he's he's
Movie.
fine for his
Well, I'm trying
life
to record a
back.
podcast here, pal.
Yeah, he's fine.
It's okay. It's okay. He's the dogs are out. Anyway, dogs are
He's
out.
still mad. He's still mad about the Packers
So am I.
loss.
We're not talking about that.
We're a basketball
This
podcast.
is a Big Sky basketball podcast.
But we no, I was surprised about Idaho State being number one. Obviously, like
Yeah, me
111
too.
is like 111 like is pretty good. I definitely didn't think they were like super far off of the top. They've played pretty well offensively. They've been really good, but like to see them as number one was definitely surprising. Bolton State being number one defensive rating doesn't surprise me too much. I think they've had a lot of games where they've really controlled the pace, and they've really stopped teams from getting the better of them on the defensive end. And we've talked a lot about Jalen Henderson as well, just being a really good defensive guy. So I think when you have your leading scorer being as good defensively as he is. And then we'll get into some other players later on, but they just have a really well-rounded roster. As we'll harp on time like throughout the season, but it does not surprise me that they're almost in the hunt, like almost in the top hundreds. Really, really impressive though.
All right, that's the one good takeaway, but we're gonna get into a couple. I'll start. I got a couple more so that I even out, I guess. I'll start with just one fast one. Portland State, I said 3-0. We talked about them, really interesting team. I looked at the Big Sky poll and they were voted second, so it's not like out of nowhere team. But they're fun. Trayvon Minot, we were talking about him a little bit. So he joined the University of South Carolina in January of 2021. So that means the season started in 2020. So this is going to be his sixth season playing college basketball, which like he's played in all six. I don't know how the waivers work for that because he played that year like 2021, 2020. I looked on South Carolina's website because he was there for 3 years and there wasn't anything about like a season-ending injury. He was a junior when he left, and now he's playing his third year at Portland State. I don't know how that works out, but he's a fun story. He's from Canada, but he played in this like pre-NBA deal in the NBA Latin America, and I think was like thinking about maybe trying to get drafted out of high school, but instead went and played in the SEC, and now he's tearing up the Big Sky, and he had that 20-point double, 20-point, 20 rebound performance in their win this
Yeah.
week. So Portland State continues to be one of the craziest like roster makeups. They have three guys who just are kind of insane already, and I don't even know who else is on the team. I don't know who else is on the team, you know? So
Mhm.
they're fun.
Mhm. Yeah, no, they're elite. They're super elite. I think for my number one takeaway is honestly Weber State has been I I thought going in like they definitely be like maybe middle of the pack, lower in, but Weber State has looked phenomenal after this weekend especially. They like really showed me like okay, this is a team that clearly is not gonna like settle. The thing that's most interesting to me about them is they have six double digit like point scorers like average throughout the season, which I think is like says a lot about
Pretty
how
good,
well that
yeah.
roster is constructed. Like very, very well rounded. You have six guys, but any night they have obviously we talked about Suarez Jr., but and Vertiinen, I think is how you
Okay.
say it, but I could be wrong. I watched a video of someone saying his name earlier, so I could try and get it,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I just listened to it. Vartiainen.
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 Vartiainen. But you also have Tajon Sane Jr., who's their leading scorer, who is like he's never gonna be like super consistently getting you 20, but he played really well in the games that they won, and he's a really efficient scorer. Like if you look at his numbers, he was not like inefficient with his shots. So like he takes good shots. You maybe want to see him take more. You maybe want to see him be more of a leader, like in terms of like maybe getting to that 20, but like I honestly think he's leading just fine. So like that's kind of just up to the eye test there. But yeah, six guys. Nigel Burris also is on that team, former Idaho guy, transferred up to Utah State and then back down to Weber State. So he was only with um, Idaho for 1 year. I didn't check this, and I should have checked this before. He may have won Big Sky Freshman of the Year, the year he played
Yeah.
for Idaho. I could be wrong,
Maybe,
but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was at least an accolade he was considered for. But that was, I think, 4 seasons ago now, or so. It's been a little
Yeah,
bit.
he was in 2022 and 23 at Idaho. He was the Big Sky Freshman of the Year, and they went to Utah State
Yeah,
for a year, and then went to Weber.
perfect. Okay, yeah. So I did have my timeline correct, but yeah, no. So they have guys. They have a really good, well-rounded set of guys. The only thing I'm worried about is the size. Suarez Jr. is their top rebounder with I think just over 7 rebounds a game, which is great, but he is only 6'6". And when you're looking at, so obviously in the Big Sky, it's like sometimes that doesn't really matter. We'll talk plenty about guys like Tajon Sawyer, who are like really solid rebounders, but guys who don't necessarily have like the prototypical size. But I definitely would be maybe worried about the longevity of a team that doesn't have, who is maybe not getting the most out of their forwards all the time, but that's kind of like Nigel Burris maybe stepping up in that role and all that other stuff. But Weber State's good. Weber State's good. I would not be surprised if they're solid.
Yeah, I remember when Coach Ray retired. Like they were kind of one of Montana's biggest rivals when both those teams were kind of winning a lot in conference. They brought in Eric Duff, who's in his fourth year now, but he is a guy who is also on their staff. So similar formula. And not only are they good this year, obviously, you can't count out the transfer portal, but
Mhm.
there's guys who stay, do the distance at Big Sky schools for sure. And a lot of those guys, except for Duff, like Viami, and then no, Burris is the one senior, but Sane Jr. and Suarez Jr. They still both have eligibility left.
Mhm.
So if they can keep that core, which is always hard to do in the Big Sky if those guys are talented, but Suarez Jr. and Sane's listed 5'10" on the roster. Not a lot of height there, right? So
No.
guys that might want to stay at this level,
Mhm.
they could be maybe not this year a contender, but in the future, for
Mhm.
sure. All right, another team that I wanted to highlight that might be kind of good are the Bobcats. And I know they beat Northern Colorado. That was a big one. They beat NAU. Not great. They struggled, but they beat Eastern. But Eastern beat UM. They played feisty at home. They did finally lose to Idaho, who's another team that's kind of just any given night team. But I think they were pretty good. And just one guy I wanted to highlight was Christian King, like we said. Joking, he's Danny Sprinkle, former Montana State head coach at Washington. He played for him last year. He's kind of sent him down on assignment, right, to the Big Sky. He was there last year. This year's on the Cats. He's got great size and went 27 off the bench, and he's kind of been like a hit or miss guy. But when he's scoring well, the team is usually mean the team's playing well. So he drops 27 off the bench, and you're like, oh, this team could be a scary matchup team, especially with a guy like him with his length and ability, especially off the bench. But he didn't shoot well, and then obviously they dropped that game at Idaho. So that's another team to keep an eye on for me is the Cats, and if they can kind of unlock something in Christian King while he's on assignment before he goes back to Washington, then they could be a fun team too.
I would agree. I think the Cats, it'll segue into my next takeaway, but yeah, he has really been a pretty big hitch for them. Like you look at like the sixth, it's sometimes it's kind of tough in the Big Sky and a lot of mid-major leagues to find like a true like sixth man. Like you have a lot of guys who really kind of rotate in these lineups, and the six man changes. It feels like it changes all the time, but Christian King is kind of like the six man for this team. And you talked about it, like when he was on, he was like, I mean, he willed them to a win. Like he helped that, and obviously you have impressive guys like Jed Miller, who we've already talked about last week, guys who can really like,
He was robbed of the Player of the Week, by the way.
yeah, we were
Yeah.
even though we both predicted what that last week was what Jalen was. No, I
Oh, I
predicted
said it. You said it was
you
going to
had
be Money
Jade
Williams,
and I
and
had
I
money
said it was
right,
going
and
to
then
be yeah.
it was Jalen Henderson, which is not a bad take. Jalen Henderson winning it was I'm not mad about that, but
No.
he was but like that's the thing is like they have good guys who clearly can show up, but when Christian King shows up, I'm not worried about the starting lineup necessarily. It's definitely hinged on that depth, which um talk about a different Montana team in depth later, but want to segue into the Cats and that tough loss against Idaho into Idaho and Idaho State have kind of my next takeaway is they're kind of like slotting into that Portland State maybe NAU role this year where they're a team that I don't necessarily think is going to win the Big Sky, but they're going to steal wins against good teams like throughout this season. And it's going to be really frustrating for these schools and I don't necessarily think it's the worst thing in the world, but people are going to be really frustrated when they lose to these teams because they're teams that you maybe expect, especially like Idaho State hasn't been, the strongest, and Idaho's kind of been on the come up, but they've lost guys in the past. Um, I mean, Burris is a great example. That was a guy who I was like, this guy could be, if he sticks around, could be like one of the best in the Big Sky, and then he leaves, obviously.
Yeah.
So you I like both these teams. I'll get more into Guerra later, but Guerra's awesome. Like he is so sweet for Idaho State. You look at his numbers, you look at his shooting, he is just super cool. So Jamison Guerra, I really like what he brings to that team, and he's really the engine for this Idaho State team. And then UI, the big thing is Colton Mitchell and Biko Johnson. We saw when they didn't play well, they didn't win when they play, when they're cohesive, when they are like on it, that's all you really that Idaho team. It feels like that's all they really need is those two guys to really be on. Especially like Colton Mitchell is that one, Biko is the two. Like I actually really like that 1-2 punch for them, but they didn't play particularly well against Montana, and that showed. Even though they kind of were able to come back a little bit, they were they were pretty inefficient in that game. But then when it counted, when they played Montana State, like they were awesome. Colton Mitchell and Biko Johnson were both 20. They both had at least 20 in that game. So yeah, they're teams I like. They're teams that are going to steal wins off of good teams. I don't think they're going to win. I don't necessarily think they're going to make a ton of noise in the tournament. But right now, they're going to be really frustrating to play both on the road and at home.
Yeah, Idaho seems tough, and they seem like they're, especially at home, could be like a team you don't really just want to play, especially on like a just beat them on a Thursday night, like um we're gonna get into the betting stuff a lot more later when we give our picks, but when I went down to the old kiosk here, because we can't really do it on our phones too much unless you're within 100 feet of a Keno machine, but you it was Idaho was actually favored by Montana, not just because they put these close conference games, they'll kind of just put them at a pick 'em line, like 1.5 or 2.5. They'll give some points to favorite. I was 4.5 point favorites over Montana. I know they were like kind of a better Ken Palm team, and they have some better ratings, but just like, I don't know how to make those lines, but like historically and on the books, like, Montana's a pretty dominant team in the Big Sky and had a better record than Idaho. Then Idaho, yeah, just started really badly in that game. Um, Moving on, talk about some teams that are good. A team that has not been good in the Big Sky Conference is the Northern Colorado Bears. They start their season off with 2 losses on the road. We get them back at home. Like, okay, they're gonna be pretty good at home. And then they get that bounce back win. We knew we were gonna they were playing Idaho State. Like they needed that win or else it was like really in trouble. But then they go in on a Saturday game and they lose to Weber State. We said Weber State's been playing well, but that's a tough loss for Northern Colorado, who coming into this week, we'll hit bracketology in a second, though, was kind of the bracketology favorite to make it out of the tournament or make it out of the conference and be that auto bid. So, they're having some problems down there. It's hard to know. We talk about every year Northern Colorado gets some guy who's really good. And that's true. They got Denker. I mean, they didn't transfer him in, but all of a sudden, every team's going to have someone who steps up. But he was putting some really good numbers up. And he's kind of slumping in his last couple. Just hasn't been shooting as well and scoring quite as bit. And they've with that the team has struggled. Um, and more importantly, just overall defensively, they've had some problems. Ken Pom, their offensive rating's 132. That's pretty good. Defense is 235. So like 100 worse. So they just kind of have that disconnect, and they've gotten into some shootouts. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. I know they've had some tough draws. Idaho State and Weaver State at home. Like those are two teams that we just said were playing pretty well, and then both the Montana schools on the road is tough. So they're still kind of looking for that bounce back. But something to keep an eye on. A team that had a really good non-con record coming in now. So we're going to get into bracketology. Could be one of our teams if they win the conference tournament, which they're certainly capable of. Maybe get us our stop it being 20 years and counting. It can be 1 year and counting or less than a year and counting because they could maybe get that first 4 game in Dayton. But right now, they're not going to make it out of the first round of the Big Sky tournament if they're playing like this.
Yeah, I'd agree. And you really see the mettle of these teams late in the season. Early, you're kind of just hope it's inconsistency and trying to get the the team to really, buy into the conference schedule. I think it's really, in my opinion, I think it's really easy for Big Sky teams going into non-conference to have very low expectations. Just like go in, play your ass off, try and figure out like what works, what doesn't work. Like just be active, try to be the best version of yourself you can and work out the kinks. And working out the kinks in non-conference is great, but when you take that into the beginning of the season, it can really tank your value. It can really tank um, obviously your record, and you want to try and win a little bit early at least, even if you're still trying to figure stuff out. So I think Northern Colorado, yeah, they have to figure something out because they are gonna need a lot more, and yeah, they need a lot more from Denker. But I'm not super concerned about him at the moment. Obviously, he's in a bit of a slump, but I really think he'll come around, and he seems like a guy who really is going to perform well once the postseason rolls around. I'm very optimistic about that. But right now, he needs to figure it out. and we'll kind of see over these next couple of weeks like where he kind of trends.
Yeah, and they got some other guys on the team who are pretty talented, but I think a lot of those guys kind of just play around him. Uh,
I
you
would
know, yeah.
I would agree.
All right, what's your final takeaway from this
My,
week?
my final takeaway, it's a little bit of a downer one, but it's also more just like it was kind of one of those things where I was thinking about and I was like, man, this is kind of like a frustrating thing to think about, but also like it's to me it feels very real and it's Montana needs more from people that are not named Money Williams. We have already talked about and we will continue to talk about how Money Williams is maybe the best player in the Big Sky. This is a guy who probably, if he wanted to transfer, he would be getting Power Four offers. I think definitely if he keeps the track up this season, like he is just like, I mean, his stock is unbelievably high. He is an amazing player. Offensively, there's no doubt. Um, he is kind of like the perfect package for your number one. The problem is Montana's depth is just not that great. Unfortunately, you have only one other double-digit scorer in Tejan Sawyer, who, mind you, Tejan Sawyer, in my opinion, is the defensive anchor of this team. Like he's the guy, he has been here for a super long time after transferring up. He has been awesome for the Grizzlies in different stints. Like he is stuck around. He's been a stalwart for him. But like to ask him to be the second leading scorer on a team that is trying to chase a Big Sky title is not, in my opinion, a super. I don't know. I don't think that's really something that you would want to see out of this team. I think Tajan is a really great like role as it is, despite the fact that he might be a little bit more undersized. Like he gets boards, like he's very active defensively. Like he should not be the second leading scorer on this team. And it is just maybe to me a little frustrating to watch a team that I thought was coming in with a lot of vibrance, honestly, a lot of new guys. So you kind of worry about that, but a lot of guys who I think had the potential to really step in as that second and a third scoring option. I don't even think Tajon should necessarily be in the top three of that. He should probably be more in four. But they just need. I am kind of disappointed by the lack of depth necessarily. I would just love to see guys step up a little bit more. But money does what money is going to continue to do. Tejan's going to be really solid for them. But I just want to see guys put up bigger performances. Like one guy I really like is Aguino, their new kid from New Mexico. He's awesome. He's had some really nice like spurts. But like I'd love to see guys like that like really, take a game every once in a while. So, obviously, very new roster, a lot of guys trying to fit in together, but I would just love to see Money get a lot more help than he does because they aren't going to lose games like they did against Eastern if they have other guys step up like that. Because Money can't, he's not going to get 30 every night. And I don't think that should be that should be an expectation for him. The expectation is, try to shoot for like 20 at least, and then you've got to have some help at the back end. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the last couple of years you really had some Grizz teams who didn't always have like the guy. Like they had some really talented scorers, don't get me wrong. Like Anan
Mhm.
Moody was a really talented scorer, but like just by the way he played, there was some times when he wasn't gonna like Money Williams is always gonna score, right?
Mhm.
When they could maybe slow him down a little bit. And obviously last year they kind of had Money Williams, but they had so many talented guys on that team
Mhm.
too. And so they just had a break. And Brandon Whitney was good. Josh Bannon, those were guys who were good for the most part. Like obviously someone has to be the leading scorer, but this year they finally kind of have one who like they know he's putting up points. And now they're like, let's carve out roles for number two and stuff, and they don't have it. And I know they definitely really got hurt by Kai Jones. Is that his last name?
Oh, Kai Johnson, yeah.
Jai Johnson, yeah, and Joe Pridgeon not being able to come back getting their waivers denied, which is still kind of crazy because the NCAA accepts some pretty crazy waivers.
Yeah.
They just don't like the small guys like Trinidad Chambliss, but yeah, they're kind of an interesting spot, and I do agree. I do like Aguino a lot. He could be fun. He could be fun. Our guy who's kind of the man on the scene a lot for Grizz games, Griffin Smith. He liked him early in the season. I think he was playing some good ball. And he was a lot of the reason they played well. He scored like 9 points early against Idaho, and was a lot of the reason they had that really good start.
Mhm.
So yeah, the Grizz are in a not an identity crisis, but they need some guys to step up. in their starting lineup and also off the bench too. That's where they really kind of had some problems is bench scoring too, I think, at points.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on. We got our takeaways from the week. Bracketology kind of got a little funny after Northern Colorado dropped another game. ESPN, which is kind of the only really main bracketology, they just let Joe Lenardi tell us who's going to make the tournament these days. Um, Montana State is in for ESPN. Joe Lenardi saw that they won in Frisco in football, and he put them in. They're tied for second, I guess. He has them playing number two Gonzaga. Two seed Gonzaga is a 15 seed in Portland. Gonzaga, mind you, number six team in KenPom, number 18 in the AP poll. Um, wouldn't be very fun, I imagine. And then the Bracketologist, which is my new favorite website, they are a website that really just goes through your team's net rating, and you can look at different conferences. And so they make a bracket, so you can see the conference and see where each teams are and see their quad four, which is cool. But they make a bracket just based on your net rating, which is pretty fun. And if it was just like how it would be, and they take the top net team from every conference. They'd have Portland State in, which would make sense because they're top in the conference um, as a 15 seed as well, playing number two Vanderbilt, who is number five in KenPom, so analytically a little better than Gonzaga, but the voters don't like that. They're 11th in AP. So we don't have
Mhm.
our dream first four finally break the 20-year streak matchup, but we have two matchups in bracketology. Which one do you like, Max?
This one's a little tougher for me than last
Yeah.
week. I feel like last week I was kind of dogging on Alabama being being upset,
Overrated. Okay,
which
yeah.
I thought they were overrated, which is like, it's still Alabama. It's like who's gonna win by 15 or who's gonna win by 20. But I don't know. I feel like I probably like Vanderbilt a little bit more over Portland State. I think Montana State has kind of shown they other than that, I mean, Grambling, mind you, Grambling played way better than I thought they would when they lost that one. But I feel like Montana State always kind of plays pretty well in the tournament. Like they always kind of find a way to like get good first halves or something, and then they kind of fall off a little bit. Like I know they when they played when Montana State played Kansas State in
Oh
2020.
yeah, that was a really good Kansas City team they
That was
had
a
to
good
play.
Kansas State team, and then they kind of like they played it semi-close in that first
Yeah.
half, and I was like, oh, this is like impressive. I didn't think they were ever going to win that game, but I was like, you should be really happy about like that. I mean, Montana last year they played Wisconsin pretty close in the first half, and then they ended up kind of falling off in the back end. So there are teams that do well, and I probably would prefer Montana State in the Gonzaga matchup, but also it's so tough because that Gonzaga team is like so nice. I like a lot of what I see from them, but I would probably take Montana State over Gonzaga. And I would, even though Gonzaga fans, mind you, travel super well, I went to a game where they played Washington State. And I know Washington State does not have the greatest basketball crowd, but the Gonzaga fans, when it's an hour away, like it's basically a home game for them. Like it was pretty rough. And they ended up beating them by 20. But I mean, it still gives MSU fans the ability to travel, like they can at least get to, somewhere kind of close. So if we're talking about fan bases showing up, I like that. But I mean, yeah, I just think Vanderbilt probably has the edge over Portland State more than Gonzaga does over Montana State. But that's kind of, yeah, it's not very close. I still think Gonzaga probably puts up a pretty
Yeah.
good performance on them.
I would almost like the want to rather pick the Gonzaga matchup just because Vanderbilt's been playing in the SEC for like however
Mhm.
many weeks at this point in time.
Mhm.
A bunch of really good SEC teams and defenses. Gonzaga, as good as they are, has been playing a bunch of West Coast Conference teams. So that's like you're just honestly like Montana State or Portland State could both seem like a really feisty West Coast Conference team on the right night. So,
Yeah.
it happens. All right,
I mean,
moving on. Our player of the week picks. I'll go with mine first because it's not. Last week I had a much better one I liked, and I had a couple ones to go through. It's hard because yeah, a lot of the teams that did the best this week, they had a guy who did really good one night and then not as good the next night. So I had to
mhm.
pick Money Williams because he dropped 35, a ridiculous number. And then he
Yeah.
also had 18 and 7 with not a good loss, not the kind of loss you want to see for the Grizz, for like a good net rating. And
Mhm.
that ship is maybe now sailed with that Eastern Washington loss.
Mhm.
On like maybe getting like a higher, like a 14, a 13 seed. Like if they win out, they could maybe get a 14 seed. I don't even know how that works, but not a great loss. But Money Williams still played super well. And if you watch down the stretch, the highlights of that Idaho game, he willed them to that victory. He kind of gave them that win. Like Idaho had taken the lead. They came back. They were on their home floor. They had all the juice, and Money Williams just took over at the end of that game. So just on that game alone, and he still put up 18 in the next game. My player of the week pick is Money Williams. Hopefully, he'll get my first one right.
Yeah, I think Money probably will get it. I agree with you. I wanted to go a little different because last week we oh, last no, I guess last week we didn't pick the same people. But I was like, I wanted to switch it up a bit. First, my like three big honorable mentions were Jalen Henderson, and Trayvon Minot. I just didn't pick them because they only played the one game, and I feel like that's kind of unfair for the other guys who had the whole week.
One game against Sac State too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So like, but I do want to give them a shout out because they had awesome games. Trayvon Minot especially probably if he had played another even decent game, he probably would have been my pick. Because the 23 and 20 is just unreal numbers. And then also I want to shout out Isaiah Moses because he played really well in the two games that he played. At least I think he had one maybe inefficient game, but he played really well against Montana. But that for the game they played against Montana State, he was a little inefficient, so I didn't want to give the nod to him, but I also I like that he was kind of willing Eastern Washington a bit. We already shouted him out earlier, but he deserves another shout out because he was pretty decent.
Isaiah Moses, as I said, from Alaska, started his career at College of Southern Idaho.
See, there we go.
Yeah, like to
College
see
is
that.
CSI. But my pick, I mentioned him earlier, but Jamison Guerra. Obviously they had a tough loss against Northern Colorado, but I still, I mean, again, it's a Northern Colorado team that is still probably one of the best in the conference, even with the tough losses. They're still one of the top teams in the conference, regardless of record. And he was like the only guy on that night, like on like a different level. If Idaho State would have pulled that win off or that game off, it would have been Guerra. It would have been Guerra who would have been the guy. So I still really like that game for him. And it was yeah, that 26 against NoCo. And then they had a really close gritty win against NAU. And again, Guerra was kind of the guy for them. So I just wanted to give him a shout. I feel like he probably is not going to win it, but I really liked what I saw from him. And because I've kind of been on the Idaho State hype train, I really like what I see from them in moments. Like I think they can really put some stuff together, and I think Guerra is kind of the guy for them. So I want to give him a shot. I want him to get my player of the week. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think it's going to be Money Williams, but I liked Guerra. I want to give Guerra my spot for the week.
My honorable mention's got to be Tijon St. Jr. for Weber State. Honestly, maybe you should have picked him, but nothing too crazy for him. Just they went 2-0, and he was most consistent in both games. 17 in their second game and 15 in their first game. And really, since conference play started, he scored 15 or more. That was that 15-point game, and that win against Northern Arizona was the lowest he scored in conference play 23, 20, 15, 17. So he's just taken a step up in conference play, which, he had an up and down non-conference, but like kind of what you'd expect by a dominant kind of, but a smaller guard, like saying, played his ball before this at Western Washington, a D2 transfer. So I like what I see there from Tijon St. Jr. So he's my honorable mention. No, I have to go with Money Williams. Okay, moving on. Thursday pick'em, folks. We sort of mentioned this on the first podcast, but every week I'm going to parlay my pick'ems on Thursday. So you see, this is Sportsbet Montana for these out of state. Kind of you know, win some, you lose some. I put a parlay, $5 down on our four picks, $40 in my hand right here. So if you're betting with us, you got a chance to hit the money window. And let me just say one last thing for those who are really into it. Obviously, I'm not a great gambler. More importantly, though, they don't release the lines when we record this on Sunday, like Monday. You got to wait till Thursday morning or maybe even Wednesday to place a bet down. But my rule is going to be when if you're picking a team at home to win, you're picking the home team to win, and they're favored, then you take their money line. And if they're not favored, if your team you're picking is not favored, then you take their plus money. So I guess home doesn't matter as much. But if you're picking a team and they're favored, you just take their money line. And if they're not favored, then you can take your points right there. And so I money lined every team except for Montana last week wasn't favored, so I took them 4.5. But had good odds. So with our picks this week, Max, we'll start. We got some different picks. Last week we all had the same picks, so both of parlays would have won. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm the bookie for this podcast. We'll start winless in conference play. NIU Ag Sac State. We did luck out a little bit with the NIU Weber game we picked. Zach Davidson appears to be out. I should check on their website. Obviously, they don't usually list that sort of thing, but I don't know why. But Zach Davidson didn't play leading scorer for NIU in the last two games. They're playing at Sac State. Who do you like, Max?
Uh, this is, I think, maybe my
Oh man.
most out of balance take right now is I think Sac State's going to win that game. I think Mike Williams is going to have a really good game. I
Okay.
don't think I don't think the rest of the team is going to be quite as bad as they were. We were looking at the box score. I was at a For those of you who don't know, I'm a sports reporter. It's one of my many jobs, and I was in Polson, Montana, watching a high school basketball game. And we were checking. I was checking the box scores. I was trying to keep track of everything, and yeah, it was not looking great for everyone not named Mikey Williams. But I think he'll have a good game. NAU is a team I'm not super confident about winning consistently. So I do think they're going to drop really bad games. And I think this is going to be one of those bad losses for them. I think Sac State is going to get probably one of their better wins of the season here pretty early. Might help them. It might not. Probably will not help them. But I think they're going to win it. I don't know if it'll be. I think it'll be very high scoring for Sac State. That's my opinion. Is they're gonna score a bunch of points. NAU is probably also going to score a pretty decent amount, but I think Sac State's going to have the edge. So I'm predicting the Mikey Williams maybe 30-point game. That's kind of what I'm hoping to see. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Obviously, neither team has won a game, and then you include 0-4 in Big Six Conference play, 6-11 versus 4-11.
Mhm.
I want to take and I want to take NIU. I know Zach Davidson's out. I don't know why I think like I'm gonna Zach State to prove it to me because NIU hasn't proved it to me either. NIU's got a couple more D1 wins.
Mhm.
They're gonna be on the road and they're not gonna be favorites, so I might take the points. Maybe we'll get a close game. Maybe NAU they'll give Sac State some public money, so maybe they'll be like plus 3.5. I'll be feeling a little better. So I don't feel great about that pick, but I just don't believe Sac State's gonna win a lot of games until they prove it to me that they can. But it's in Hornet Pavilion, so you never know.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on. Um, the
Have you
Frisky
seen
Eastern Washington Eagles playing the Weber State Wildcats.
have you watched a lot of games where they film them in Hornet Pavilion?
It's not a big gym.
I would we're yeah we're the way you said that it made me think like it was like they're playing in a packed out Dahlberg, but or a packed out Break Breeden.
Maybe they'll
What
do what the football team is doing. Maybe they'll be like a Quavo concert afterwards. And they'll
we
get
can
some look at all the people and like just everyone. I know you're here to see Quavo, but we're gonna play a basketball game really fast. You might know the name Mikey Williams.
Sac State fans are gonna hate us out.
All five of them.
We're uh okay next what's the next game?
I said the Frisky Eastern
Oh,
Washington Eagles
okay
going to play at
okay
Weber State in
okay.
Ogden.
Perfect. I think I was high on Weber State. I already said it. I think Weber. I would be shocked if Weber lost this game. They're on a super good hot streak. So there's not much else to say than Weber State should win this, and if they lose this is going to be a pretty bad loss for them.
Yeah, Eastern's frisky as well, but I think Weber State is gonna be pretty well favored in this one. I like the Wildcats. I like the Wildcats. Eastern seems to be a team that like I'd be careful betting against at home. Might
Mhm.
take the points at home with Eastern, but I'll for this one on the road, I'll give them Weber State, and they just played two like hard fought games against the Montana schools. We were rudely interrupted by Zoom's ban. We're gonna hopefully next week record on something better. Sorry about that, folks. But as we were saying, Northern Colorado, Portland State. Good game. Northern Colorado, good team. Portland State, real good team. Who do you have winning that one, Max?
I have Portland State winning that one. One, Portland State's at home. They have the advantage. That's big. We can talk about home court a lot, but when you're the best team in the Big Sky, at least record wise, I'd like to think they're the best team all around, but home court is great, especially against Northern Colorado. That is a tough team. I know we haven't been super high on them this specific podcast, but they're a good team. They're a team you do not want to count out. They will win games. They are going to beat good teams. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went in, beat Portland State. I like Portland State, though. I think it'll be a close one, though. I think it'll be a very close, very fun game. This is probably my game of the week right now. Like this is going to be a good one. If you're going to tune into any Thursday night game, this is the one.
Yeah, it's a big week for me, girlfriend's birthday that night. Thursday, Saturday, or picking. I'm betting on Thursday games though, but I might not be able to tune in. But if I had a nice dinner and I get the ESPN alert that the game's close, I don't have to go to the bathroom for a little bit.
Is there any TVs at the restaurant you're going to?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. That's a good question. That's good to know. Um, but yeah, if it was in Greeley, I might think twice about picking Northern Colorado because I don't think Portland State has played. They did play the Weber. They played Idaho State too, I think. They only played 3 games. Obviously, Sac State. They haven't played any of the better teams in the Big Sky, but Northern Colorado is one of those better teams to us and preseason poll wise. So yeah, that'll be a good one. I also pick in Portland State though. Um, hey, give me the Vikings money line. And finally, the other game of the day, Idaho and Idaho State. They're playing for the Potato Trophy, right? What's that called?
Oh yeah, the I forget
We
because
should
they
really
got
know this.
well they have a new one. They have the new potato
There's
trophy.
another one.
Pretty sure it's a new one, unless
Well, it's like newer, but like but
newer because they have the Battle of the Domes, obviously in football,
uh-huh.
but in basketball, I'm pretty sure the thing they have is different. We're gonna do
The
some
battle
research.
for the Potato State Trophy. That's the football
Oh,
one. That's
okay,
the
that
one
is
that Idaho
oh
State won this year.
right. Okay, because that's I'm pretty sure that trophy's actually that's the new one. Because I don't think they had that before. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's new-ish.
Okay.
At
The
least
Potato
that
State
version of
Trophy.
it's new.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the football trophy. There's one in basketball though, is there not? King
there,
Spud.
yeah, this. Oh yeah,
Yeah, okay, sorry. So they're playing for King Spud, which is different than the Potato Trophy.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
and
it's yeah.
he got lost, right? Yeah. So he
Oh,
King Spud was lost in the 70s and 80s. And then
yeah.
they made him again.
Right. Forgot
Okay.
about that. Yeah,
And
he
then so the
okay.
Potato State one's a big like wooden potato, but King Spud
Yes.
is
The
yeah.
metal one.
So this
Little
is the
metal.
battle for King Spud. I'm not sure who has it right now. I don't know who
Um,
has King Spud. I don't know who won their last basketball game, but they're
yeah,
back. They
they're
brought it
back.
back last January. Anyway, they're back. Who do you like?
Um, I am gonna go with my guys at Idaho State. I like what I'm seeing there. I just hyped up Guerra a lot. It is in Pocatello. Again, the home court advantage. Another game I think that's gonna be super close. These are two teams that obviously do not like each other, the in-state rivalry. It's gonna be scrappy. I do think Idaho State, though, they've kind of got a new vigor this year. I think they're gonna pull this one out. Um, yeah, I don't know. I like Idaho State here, and especially at home, I feel like I kind of have to go with them because I can pick Idaho to win when they're in Moscow, but I think it's one of those series that I would say this is going to be one of those that gets split in the season, but Idaho State I think takes it.
Yeah, it gets split. I went with Idaho in this one. I don't just a kind of a gut feeling. The best gamblers bet with their gut. They don't use stats at all. That's what they always say. Should be good. I mean, I just think Idaho has looked maybe a little better, more consistent overall this year. And they have a lot more returners who've played in this trophy game before. And I think that's the big part is that they have some. I guess there's guys who've come back for Idaho State too, but there's some guys who played for it last year for Idaho. Colton
Mhm.
Mitchell being one of them. Um, I like the Vandals, and maybe I'll get some spread points if they're playing on the road too. That'll
Mm,
help juice my parlay a little bit. Last week with the Grizz playing on the road and a couple toss-up games, we got some juice on it. This week, it depends on the NAU line, but maybe not as much. Well, excuse me, folks. This is a live podcast. Sorry for sneezing. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. So hopefully that boosts our line. And so that's I'll be putting that one down, but we're still keeping track. Last week we both went 4 for 4, so we both have 4 points and 0 for 1 on the player of the week. But so Max going Idaho State, Weber, Portland State, Sac State. My parlay is going to be NAU spread maybe or money line if they're favored.
mm.
Weber's going to have the money line. Portland State's going to have the money line, and the Idaho Vandals spread potentially unless they're favored.
Right.
Okay, finally guessing game of the week. Last week we did the Canes guessing game. This week is more Big Sky ball knowledge related.
Okay.
So if you're a Big Sky Conference fan and you're watching this and you've watched the league for a while, look away because we are newer to the league. But we're
Yeah.
guessing who has scored the most career points all time in the Big Sky Conference men. I need you to get half of the guys right. I'd say there's like maybe half of them that you maybe if you've been watching Big Sky ball the last 7 years, you definitely know.
Okay.
And I'll give you hints. I'll give you hints, and I'll even give you the team. I need you to guess half the guys. Okay. I'll let you guess a couple guys off the rip, and then we'll start giving you hints. So the 10 all-time leading scorers in Big Sky
In,
Conference basketball history.
in Big Sky Conference basketball
Yeah.
history. Okay. I want to see. Okay. See here. Yeah. Another disclaimer for people listening to this. I I am born and raised in Missoula. I've watched a lot of Grizz games. Mind you, I've watched a lot of Grizz games where I was a little kid or a middle schooler and I didn't really understand. So it hasn't really been since like college is where I've really kind of got my knowledge. So it's going to be rough. It is
Okay.
admittedly going to be pretty rough, but I'm trying to think of like great players. Um, I feel like is I feel like I have to go with my gut and like some of the Montana guys. I feel like I got to go with like where where's my boy Michael Ray Richardson at?
There is one Montana Grizzly in the top 10 all
You
time.
gotta
It
be
is,
kidding
it is
me.
not
What?
Mike. Rest in peace, but it's not Michael Ray Richardson.
Rest in peace, Mike Ray
And
Richardson.
the crazy thing is, zero COVID guys on the list.
Oh, this is so bad.
Yeah,
One,
you're in
one
some trouble.
Grizzly.
You're in
Oh,
some trouble.
uh, what? Do you think I know this Grizzly? Do you think I should know this
Yeah,
Grizzly?
This
Okay.
is a Montana Grizzly legend.
Larry Kriskoviak.
Yeah. Okay. He is
Okay.
eighth all time in Big Sky Conference
He's
scoring.
only eight? Oh my God, that's like I mean,
He
obviously, yes,
played from 82 to 86. He scored just over 2,000 points, 2,017 points.
that's super impressive.
Yep.
I know Larry's like obviously Mike Richardson's great, but like Larry Kriskoviak probably is like the Grizzly like men's legend,
Yeah.
probably. I mean my sociology and history teacher in high school, he has a Larry Kriskoviak Milwaukee Bucks thing on his wall. So like he has like a full poster, so he means a lot to these people,
Crisco.
to
Yeah.
us,
He's a
to
legend.
to to former Grizzlies or
Okay.
current
Well,
Grizzlies, but
bad news. No more Grizzly.
this is so bad. Okay. Um, how many Bobcats on the list?
There's one Bobcat on the list.
One Bobcat. Okay. Bobcat fans are also going to hate me because I don't really know much about.
This guy was a hooper.
Okay, these guys are who? Is
And
this
there is
like?
a good chance you watched this guy play.
There's a good chance I've watched this
Good
guy
chance you
play.
watched this guy play.
Oh gosh. Okay. Um. Oh, this is
This
actually
is
gonna.
the number one all-time leading scorer in the Big Sky Conference. He played from
Oh.
2015 to 2019.
Oh
And he used to fry teams, but they were
no.
not good. They were not good those years.
I know. Yeah, they were. I know they weren't because that was when you were watching them. So. uh,
Not a, not really.
Not well, I
I
guess
was watching the
not.
rodeo in there.
I was gonna
Okay.
say watching, as in
Yeah.
you
I
were
knew who
close
this guy
enough.
was in high school though. That's how good he was. I was like, the team's bad, but this guy.
Yeah, so pe people are going to be really mad at me because, mind you, I was also in high school, and in high school, I was watching a lot of Boston Celtics basketball, a lot of
Yeah.
Grizzly basketball, but I really didn't know anybody else other than Grizz basketball players. So,
I think
yeah,
this guy's senior, junior year in the Brawl of the Wild, maybe junior year, he put up like 37 or something, and the Cats won in the Brawl. It was crazy
okay,
in Bozeman.
I'm okay. I have to get half of the. Okay, I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna skip this guy for right now. For right now, I'm gonna. Uh,
Okay,
are there any guys from like? Oh, you said no COVID guys, correct?
no COVID, guys. That's what
But
makes
any
this kind of hard.
I was gonna say because I was like. Because here's the thing. We think about like obviously like a Grizz name, like a big Grizz name, like Brandon Whitney. He has the most all-time games played in the Big Sky Conference history. But like those, if a guy like that who plays that many games is not on the list, which obviously Brandon Whitney, not really like a scoring guard. He was a defensive guard, but like still like if those guys who played forever in the league aren't up there, it is
All
gonna be a
right,
long
we're
day.
gonna start with the easiest one on this list.
Okay.
Perhaps the best player to ever come out of the Big Sky is number 10. Played
Oh,
three seasons.
okay. Damian Lillard.
Okay,
I
Damian
wanted
Lillard.
he was my guy in the back of my head, but I was kind of hoping
Yeah,
I could save him for the end, but you know
yeah.
what? I got two.
He scored 1,900 points. He scored 10.
Gosh.
Okay.
Could beat the
So the
Grizzlies
problem is
though.
if you don't know the Montana State legend, because this guy was maybe an easy one, you might not know these other guys.
I probably won't.
Because
Well,
there's
I know.
so like in like the 2016, like 2014 era, there was
Mhm.
like some real guys who just were breaking each other's record. Like there was a lot of scoring in the conference.
Right.
So number two played 4 years at Northern Colorado.
See, was
And
he?
they'll
Yeah.
need, you might remember him because in the Big Sky Conference Championship game in 2019, he had a Sports Center poster on a Montana Grizzly.
Oh, did he? Was that a poster on oh what's his name? The I was at his senior night game, the center.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yep.
I know. Okay, why am I forgetting his name? I love that guy. He was like a Grizz like
He has the same name as a Philadelphia Eagles lineman, defensive lineman.
oh defensive lineman. The guy who did who did the dunk or the guy who got
Yeah,
dunked
yeah,
on.
the Northern Colorado guy.
The Northern okay, the same name as a
Yeah.
okay Jordan. Oh, sweet. Okay, our guy.
Jordan, what's his last
Jordan.
name?
Oh my God, Jordan. No, I was gonna say a last name I shouldn't have said. Jordan. Oh God, no.
Same,
You're
it's
gonna.
same first and last as the Philadelphia guy.
Oh wait, it's Jordan Davis.
Yeah. Jordan
Oh
Davis,
what?
the
Oh
Northern Colorado Bear.
oh.
Sorry.
Okay, so yeah. Sorry, we're
So
talking.
he
Okay,
scored 2,272 points.
good for him, man.
The
I
problem
remember that
is,
clip.
and that is the second most all time in the Big Sky. The problem is he played in the same exact 4 years as this guy from Montana State. But I think that Northern Colorado team might have made the tournament one year. Like Jordan Davis was the baller, and they
There.
played in the NIT one of his years, and they
Hmm.
made the finals. That's why he has a lot of he's up there. Like he's a good name to remember if we do these games.
Well, I know because
Okay,
he's. I just remember there were those teams were well, those teams were really good. Didn't one of their years got like vacated though? I don't know if that was before that or if that was like 2011 or something. A lot of stuff got vacated 2011, not just in basketball, in the Big Sky Conference, for a lot of different reasons.
they were ready to vacate some wins back in the day. Okay,
Yeah.
um, maybe
This.
his none of his points got vacated though. Okay,
Okay. Go
another
for it.
thing we need to know about this list, there's three Weber State Wildcats on it.
Oh, three Weber State
Yeah.
Wildcats. Okay. I feel like I is there a guy from like the Weber State team from like '06, like those like t that team that beat Nevada?
Not a
Like really?
Montana Grizzlies team that did that.
No, Weber State, sorry.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, there's I know the
There's no one who played in '06
okay.
on the Weber State
That's
Wildcats.
not
Okay.
helpful.
Number
Not like I
three,
Oh,
Played 2016 to 2020, so COVID year final. He was a dog,
okay.
and he's Weaver's all-time leading scorer. And those are the only hints I have. This is gonna be a hard one.
Okay. Weaver's all-time 2020. It's like this is like right when I was like okay, this is like when I started college, but I was not watching a lot of live
Yeah,
basketball.
I remember hearing this guy's name. I watched him play, I think, for Weaver this year. But
Do you,
yeah, okay. We can go to number four if we want.
sure, well
Okay.
we're gonna this is gonna be a
We'll work down
long
the list. We'll work down the list. Number four, played at Eastern Washington, kind of 2014 and 2018. And he's Ukrainian.
he's
He's got a
Ukrainian.
he's Ukrainian and he's got the same name as two also like what's that area of Europe called NBA players.
Okay. Wait, so he has a sit wait, so he's like is
Same
he like
first name, same first name. I'll give you the like
oh
same first name.
is he like Nick is it like Nicola?
No.
Okay, different okay,
If
different
you
Europe.
if you get the first name, I'll count it because it's looking dire.
Listen, we gave the disclaimer that this is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a
no, I
rough.
know.
This
This
is
is
gonna be rough.
I
We
was
will
hoping
I
there'd be some more guys we watched play in the last couple years, not here. There's not. Like in the
there
2014, you just put the ball on the hoop. You didn't play defense.
yeah. Well, the
But
thing that sucks is I know the Montana State guy, and I'm going to hear the name, and I'm going to be so
oh,
pissed
you're
that
gonna
I
be
missed
pissed.
it. That's
Yeah,
the only one I'm going to be mad about. The rest of them, I didn't know in the first. Jordan Davis, I have heard that name
yeah,
before, and I remember.
that
Uh,
dunk.
I will I used to work for TV station, nonstop local news, same as Jack did back in the day. And the sports anchor there, Sean Rainey, has a lot of old clips, and I saw that he showed me the clip he got of that dunk from the tournament. And I remember that because he also interviewed Fabian. That was his freaking
Fabian's the guy who got dunked on.
yes, Fabian's the guy who got dunked on. Shout
Shout
out
out.
Fabian.
The
But he
Grizz still
interviewed
won that game too, so
they did.
yeah.
That was a crazy game. By the way, if you guys want to look at that 2019 that 2019 like Northern Colorado Montana game, like try and find clips of it. It is awesome. It's like one of the best like turning games you'll watch. It had a freshman Mac Anderson on it for
Oh
people who know
yeah.
Mac Anderson.
Now
He
we're
that was
speaking my language.
it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay. Anyways, I could go on
Okay,
a
so
tangent about that, but
number four, Eastern Washington, same name as a couple of the European NBA players have this also
okay.
first name.
So it's not okay, so it's not Nikola. And I know there's a lot of Nikolas, so that's like my number one name off the list. Um, other European, he's Ukrainian. Um, Probably not Kristaps because that's Latvia. Um, gosh, what other
Like I wish
Europe?
I give you a hint by say what teams they play for. I don't know what teams these guys play for anymore though.
Oh, okay. So these guys aren't even like
One of
good.
them was a king and then a hawk.
Oh, is it Boyan or Bogdan?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So number four is Bogdan Blizniak from Eastern Washington.
Okay. That is a name that I have
Yeah.
heard in passing, but
Yeah.
that I would never have gotten it without the
Well, because
hint.
he set the record in 2018 with 2,169,
Okay.
and then the very next year, two guys broke it.
Yep, that seems about right. Hey, that's good. That's good. We just need more people to break it. After
Okay.
2020, you guys, we need to
So I'll give you a hint on that one. This one you get a pretty easy hint to, and then after that, you're barbecue chicken. Um, Number
This is
five,
five, okay.
played for Idaho from 1991 to 1994.
Holy hell. Okay,
This
Idaho.
guy is an Idaho legend. Yeah, if you know Idaho basketball, this guy's a legend. Two-time Big Sky Player of the Year. And it's the same last name as the guy who wrote the wreck of the Edmond Fitzgerald.
Wait, what? The sorry, what? The
Artist. He has the same last name as the artist who wrote the wreck of the Edmond Fitzgerald.
oh, well,
You don't know the artist who wrote the Edmond Fitzgerald?
I'm
Oh,
not
come
an
on.
art historian. Uh,
You've
I
heard the song. You've heard the song.
I probably have.
The wreck of the Edmond Fitzgerald?
Yes, I've heard this song, but like I can't think of the guy who made the painting.
There's some good men on that boat, you know?
There probably were. What do you mean you'd expect me to know that? Maybe people are gonna clown me and be like,
Yeah.
"How do you not know that?" And if you
They should hold you to the fire a little bit.
I'm
Well,
okay
you
with
should know
it.
number one on this list too.
I should know number one. Number one is gonna make me mad, but the rest of these, he has the same last name as the guy who did a painting that
No,
I.
no, he sang the song, Edmond Fitzgerald.
Oh, he sang the song, not the artist who
Yeah.
sang the song, not the. Okay. Uh,
Perhaps the gale this November have come early.
oh my God. I have Ugh. I have no clue. I have
Okay,
no
okay, okay,
idea.
okay. We're gonna jump to number nine. The last possible guess you have. He played at Boise State.
No, it's not even a big
Wait, wait,
city
what?
anymore.
In the Big Sky.
They were, but like
From
now it's
1989. But most importantly, he's the commentator during the Big Sky tournament. One of them.
oh shit. Oh my God. I know.
He's not the famous one, not the guy who does the
No.
not the one who's like I getting better than a fiddle string. He's not
The
Joe
thing is
Cravens, and he's not the
oh
play-by-play guy. He's at like the desk with maybe Kyle Hansen sometimes.
right, yes.
Yep.
No, I know who you're talking about. Fuck. Dude, I'm so bad with names. This is so terrible. God, what's his name? What's his name? This is actually so embarrassing because like
His
I
last name's
know
Beard. I'll give you a hint. Beard.
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 My God. I don't know. I don't know. Who
All
what's his
right.
full
Okay, it's a sad name for the conference. Max did not guess the top 10. Okay, but we're gonna go do some reveals starting from the bottom up. So 10, Damian Lillard. Number 9, Tanoka Beard.
name? Tanoka.
Tanoka, yeah.
Oh, that's actually so
This
frustrating
year
because
when
I
he's on the
knew
desk at the tournament when you're watching, you're like,
yes,
that's the
I
ninth all-time leading scorer.
the problem with that one is I knew it wasn't a name I was gonna rem like
Yeah.
I knew his first name was something like very unique. And so I was like, I'm not like you said beard, and I'm like, there's that doesn't help me because this guy's has like a really cool first name that I would never guess in a million years. So sorry, sorry, Chinoka, you're awesome at what you do. And next time, what if you're on another list, I will do my best to get you.
Tanoka's a good analysis. I do agree. Number 8, Chris Gull, from UM. Number 7, Bruce Collins. Weber State Wildcat from 1976 to 1980. Bruce High C Collins, as they called him.
Okay, would have never gotten that. Sorry, Bruce.
Number 6, Jeremy Senglin.
Oh, that's a name. I've heard that name
He
before.
was played in 2013 to 2017, so he was another one of those Wildcat guys. Him and
Okay.
Jarrett Harding were on some of the same teams together, and these guys are both top 10. That's pretty crazy. Jarrett
Yeah.
Harding, number 3, Weber State Wildcat, all-time leading scorer.
Okay.
Yeah, that was another one. Number 5, Orlando Lightfoot.
Oh no! Oh, Orlando. That was so. I am actually so pissed about
Maybe the
that.
cousin of Gordon Lightfoot, writer of the Edmond Fitzgerald.
Okay, I do know who Gordon Lightfoot is, but
Okay.
I am more mad because uh
You know
I
who
know who
Orlando Lightfoot
Orlando
is?
Lightfoot is more than I know who Gordon Lightfoot
Oh,
is.
did he play in the league?
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he was in the league for like
Orlando. Okay, because like I hadn't heard of Orlando Lightfoot, and that's a
I
name.
know I have seen because I have done research, clearly not very good research, but I know who
Yeah,
Orlando
no,
Lightfoot is.
his name's a lot over the books, a lot. Orlando. He's
Yeah.
kind of a legend. So
So
that's
I'm
fine.
sorry. Yeah, I am that one is actually egregious because I
That one hurts.
the thing is if I got the reference for the song, I'm sorry for Gordon Lightfoot fans, but like I would that was just never gonna happen. I listen to a lot of modern music, unfortunately, so sorry you guys.
Okay.
It's
Number
not meant.
4 is Bogdan Blizniuk, Eastern Washington.
Yep,
3, we
Bogdan.
said Jarek Harding, Weber State. 2,
Yep.
Jordan Davis, Northern Colorado. Number 1,
It's gonna piss me off.
a guy who put the ball in the hoop more than anyone else in basic conference history, was on some horrible teams. He played with Kelvin Blevins,
I know. I was
Damian
like,
Lillard's cousin.
yeah, Keldon Blevins, who, sorry, Keldon, but he didn't even, never mind. I'm not going to get on the Keldon.
The best ever, Tyler Hall.
No! Oh my God, Tyler Hall.
Bobcats legend.
Here's the thing is he actually like sniffed the NBA. Like he was
Yeah,
like on
I was
G League.
watching some highlights before this, and he was thinking about going his junior year, but didn't quite get it. He
Yeah,
worked out with the Boston Celtics, actually.
he did. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I need to look at where I want to say he was playing in the summer league last year for the Knicks summer league team.
Oh yeah, he played. He might still be playing G League basketball. Tyler Hall.
Um
He
yeah,
was on like the
Tyler,
Mavericks one a couple of years ago. Their G League team. Let's see.
yeah.
Let's see what he's
He,
up to.
he is okay, so he last played for the Texas Legends of the G League.
He put up
Um
35 for the Texas Legends. I'm seeing.
yeah, okay, Tyler Hall, I know you're probably not
I
going to
don't
listen
know
to
how
this.
long ago that was though.
I am extremely sorry because I not only know you, I've watched actually a decent amount of
I
your
know that's what I
highlights.
was saying. You watched Tyler Hall play basketball. He
I've
was a
watched
dog.
I have watched you play basketball. I watched you play actually a decent amount of summer league basketball, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Westchester. I have watched not many. I've not watched a lot of G League basketball. It's not really something I do, but I have watched Westchester like a couple Westchester basketball games just because they play the main Celtics a decent amount, and I'm a Celtics fan. But the Westchester Knicks, I have seen him play for the Westchester Knicks. So yeah, Tyler Hall, I'm sorry. I am sorry to Bobcats fans though. You deserve better than that because I shouldn't I know who that is, and I should know who that is. And I do know who that is. Um, and I'm gonna I'm gonna be super honest. There is there was only one name I was thinking the entire time you were I was not because he would have been the guy, he would have been nowhere close, but he was the only person I could think of. Um, for some godforsaken reason, it was Tyler Patterson the whole time.
Yeah, he's a Bobcat. He was on the Cats for a while too.
He was, but I knew
Yeah.
he wasn't gonna be in the top 10. And T Pat, I mean the three to the face, the three mask is pretty legendary,
Yeah,
but
that was a good. He was hitting that one when they made the tournament. I remember.
yeah,
I watched
but
it live.
I'm actually mad because I did have a Tyler in my brain. It was not the right Tyler, but it was Tyler Patterson instead of Tyler Hall.
Yeah, that's tough. Let me pull up just for anyone still watching. We've got a little time left here. Let me pull up the all-time uh scores and see if there's a couple names you still might remember. Record book. Here we go.
Yeah, I actually want to pull
Because
this list
there's a
up as
couple. Damian Lillard making the list was good. That helped you out a lot
well.
for good guess.
Are you on
I'm on the
the
Big Skies
you're
website
on the
here.
official one. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Still looking at last year's conference performers. Okay, single game records. That could be a good one, but you there's no way you know any of those guys.
I'll,
Um,
I'll do more
remember
research.
those names I told you. But
I
anyway,
was-
okay, so outside of those, Harold Frey, number
Okay.
13, Montana State, Norwegian guy. He played with Tyler Hall for a little bit. He played past him. So
Yeah.
2019, I think, was his senior year. Uh, Michael Ray Richardson is 16 from Montana.
Wow.
Yeah.
16th. Okay.
Dylan Jones is 22nd for Weber State. And then Saeed Pridgett's 23rd for Montana.
See,
Kareem
that's what.
Jamar,
Okay.
24th. And Ahmad Roy, 26th. They just all played, a lot of them played with each other, you know?
Yeah, that's the thing. That was why I was a little surprised when you only said the one, because not just Michael Ray, but I was like, wait, like obviously a lot of these guys crossed over. As obviously not Kareem Jabbar, but like they're like a Rory and Pridgett specifically, guys who were awesome at Montana. But I mean, yeah, there's only one guy who can really have like the night on every night. So that doesn't surprise me that they're a little down there.
Dalen Kuntz,
Yeah.
Northern Colorado Bear, only 3 seasons, 27th. Michael Gene, fourth or 28th for 4 seasons. Brennan
Gene,
Whitney in 5 seasons is 32nd.
that's
Jabril Bello, Montana State guy,
hey,
more of a recent guy.
yeah,
He was on there. Anyone else from
over
Bryce
1600.
Fowler played at Sac State for a while.
Mm.
He's 43rd. Uh, and that about concludes guys that you've maybe heard of. Most importantly, though, the big thing that jumps out: Orlando Lightfoot, our guy, Idaho
Mhm.
legend, is fifth all time in 3 seasons.
Yep.
He played like 30 less games than Tyler Hall.
That
And
is.
like the only other guy on the list who scored even 91, which is about 3 seasons worth of work, is Dalen
Mhm.
Kuntz, the third guy. Like that's he was putting up crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Dame Lillard, 10th, is also a 3 season guy.
Yeah.
So is
We
Ahmad Rory. Those guys are some real hoopers. 3 season guys to be top 25
And
guys. But
I also want to point out too, like, if for anyone who wants to look at this list, like, they're like guys who were in the NBA for an okay amount of time, like Rodney Stuckey and Joel Bolomboy, like those guys are like out of the top 50. Like these are
yeah,
obviously like if you are going to go to the
Stuckey
NBA.
played 2 years though. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but like that's like it's like you have guys who are like obviously have great seasons and like are NBA guys, but like that's the thing is like you have to really think about these dudes who have stuck around for a while, not just stuck around for a while, who were good, and that's really especially in the modern like NBA like professional landscape, whether that's transfer portal or going pro, like you don't have guys sticking around. But it's kind of cool to look down and you see guys like we got two coaches. We got Danny Sprinkle and we got Wayne Tinkle who are just out of the top 50 actually. So that's kind of cool. Wayne Tinkle, my grandmother, I got a personal anecdote. My grandmother, she was a teacher. She was a teacher for 40 plus years in the city of Missoula. She was the teacher for all three of the Tinkle siblings. So if you were up on the Tinkle or if you know a lot about like every level of basketball, you'll know the Tinkle sisters. Then obviously Trace Tinkle, who was pretty darn good when he played at Oregon State as well. So they're pretty solid.
All right, there you go. Well, maybe we'll spend some time in the history books, the Big Sky Conference. I don't know what next week's guessing is going to be, but stay tuned for how our picks do this week, everybody. Until next time, Jack and Max, 20 years and counting.